what do you need to fix? Well, she so and he so. What are you so? Because I know you are so something.
You are so something.
Every time you say something about somebody else, go ahead and give yourself one. She talks too much. You are a liar. She's an alcoholic. You're an overeater. You're a glutton. You can't stop what goes into your mouth. And when you focus on that, you will stop trying to fix everybody else.
You won't have time.
You fixing yourself.
I am so many things. I don't have time to worry about what you so. I'm so. True revelation comes when you stop saying God fix them and you start saying change me.
Welcome to the CWC Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here once again to the home of entrepreneurship, modern dating, interpersonal relationships, entertainment, current events, and much, much more. Thank you for being here. We're on the heels of MegaCon. We were at MegaCon about a week and a half ago. We had a wonderful time. If you didn't check out that video, go check it out. It's a quick video, about 8 or 9 minutes, just kind of chronicles, what we did out there. Had some fun, a little R&R, but also was also a work trip as well. So kind of 50-50 on that. We had a great time. Check the video out. Might see something you enjoy. Now, we're back. We're back on the duel. Amina's back. And as a matter of fact, not only is Amina back, she can walk.
She can walk.
She can walk. So she, for the last couple months, several weeks, she's been on the scooter. She can't walk. She can't move. She was frustrated.
I was on a scooter at MegaCon.
She was on an e-scooter at MegaCon. It didn't stop her, though. I'm going to see Hayden anyway. That's what she was saying. So, she was not going to leave. I didn't try to stop her. Did I try? I didn't try.
No way. You couldn't stop me.
As soon as she told me she was going, I was like, okay. But I wasn't going to be able to stop her. So she accomplished her goal, which you'll see in the video. She's smiling at the end, put it that way. So what are we talking about today? So today, I think this topic is going to resonate with everybody because this is impacting everybody in, society as a whole. Everybody watching this is going to say, man, yeah, that's right. We're talking about accountability. Make it make sense. So what does that mean? So what we've been doing this podcast for several months now. We're going on a year coming up in August. We'll be hitting a year. So right around the corner. I've learned a great deal in that year. I've learned quite a bit. I've grown myself personally. Like I said, one of the goals when we started this podcast was, not only to help people, but this was going to be beneficial for me as well. If you go back and watch the very first intro that I did, I talk about how it's going to be a journey where I'm learning from you as much as you're learning from me, right?
Right.
And I'm learning from you, and she's learning from me. I'm learning a lot. I haven't started digging too deep, but there's a lot of stuff I still need to learn from her that I won't go into that rabbit hole yet. But I know that I need to, and we're actually going to touch on that because part of this topic is very specific to her lane and what she does. So with that being said, accountability. So I made some notes just to kind of keep me on the rails. And I think, like I said, I think this is kind of going to resonate with everybody to a degree. So I believe that we live in a society now that suffers from a severe lack of accountability. I think it's across the board. I don't think it's with any specific person, gender, race, what the subset of genders or whatever there's going on now. But I don't think it's specific to any group. I think it's across the board. I think that the lack of accountability is really starting because everybody talks about, man, society, right? Society's going down. What's going on? It's because there's no more accountability.
I call it post-COVID behavior. Oh, C19 behavior.
Post-C19 behavior is another way to put it. And that's kind of what I told you that in the grocery store the other day, I had an older lady behind me who was venting to me about just the lack of decency, right, in human beings. Like it seems to have gotten a lot worse than what most of us can remember. And this lady was probably 60, so she was very frustrated if she was venting to me. She doesn't know who I am, but she was venting to me just like no one cares anymore. She was very upset, and I could understand. We were going back and forth with banter about just little things that annoy us, and I get it. I tell you guys all the time, I'm old, right? I say it all the time. I'm getting old. So maybe
the older you get, the more annoyed you get.
That's what I kept asking her. I'm like, am I just getting old here? Because a lot of this stuff is really annoying to me, like to the point where I'm like, man, it's almost unbearable at times. So with that being said, what I have kind of come to notice over this journey is that people have so many excuses now. Like we've always had excuses, but like now it's like whatever shortcomings you have, it's somebody else's fault, right?
Well, the shortcomings and the complaining is due to what we did with the children, right? That they gave them all the medal for everybody and everybody wins. And those people are kind of getting older now and they're all very entitled and there's a lot of victim mentality, but it's spread to the adults, I think, too. It's kind of, I think it's catchy.
It's contagious. Like this lack of accountability. It's like, it's now like, okay, somebody, in other words, if I go back to my notes. So let me give you an example. So let's say that you know somebody, right? That they've been at the same job for 10 years. They've been doing the same thing, pushing the same buttons, doing the same thing for the last 10 years, right? They haven't gotten promoted, right? They haven't, because they haven't strived for that promotion, right? They're just kind of doing the same thing every day, right? And they've shied away from opportunities to advance because they're afraid of the added responsibility that comes with that advancement, right?
Yes.
We all know someone like that, right? Yes. But then that same person will turn around and complain.
Or a group of people that are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you're going to do that, that's fine. If you're going to be like, I'm okay with this, I'm going to do this for 10 years, I'm going to do it for the next 10 years, right?
You've decided that this is the lane I'm going to stay in. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I'm good at.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to stay at. But don't complain and don't say the man is holding you down and that you're being oppressed because you're choosing to stay in a lane that you are comfortable with. It's a comfort zone for you, right? Instead of going up one more tier, whatever that case may be, because I'm in the medical field, say you're a CNA and you decide not to become an LPN or an RN or whatever because you're comfortable and you know it comes with a lot more responsibility and everything will fall.
Well, and in your case, those what was it? LPN is the lower tier?
CNA, LPN, RN.
Okay, so they see what you do already.
Yes.
Because they work with you every day.
Yes.
So they're looking at you. I don't want to do all of that. Right?
That's just one example
that
I know of. Because that's
so I've seen this in the IT space. I've seen people that are on a computer and they just, do the same thing and they're good at their job and they make a decent, salary, right? But what has happened to us in the last 2 to 3 years? Well, especially in the last 2 years after C-19 and the forced lockdowns and all the stuff that they did to us, inflation, right? So if you were making 60, 70 grand before and you were comfortable, now you ain't that comfortable.
No way.
A lot of people I know, rent went up by $600 to $800. Like I said, my own rent went up by about $600. So if you're somebody who was I'm kind of comfortable at the end of the month, and then your rent went up by $600, now you're in trouble. So now you're looking back at, man, all that $10,000, promotion that I turned down would paid off right now because you were. But
all the woulda, shoulda, couldas, what I could have done, what I should have done. I could have become XYZ, but I didn't because you fell into a comfort zone, or maybe if you were married and your husband takes care of you, and you weren't motivated because he was always your like safety net.
Yeah.
But now maybe he needs some help.
Sure. Maybe he lost his job. I mean, how many people had layoffs, right? See, what seems to me is that like there's a lack of planning too, right? So people are not planning for a rainy day, right? People are just living off the cuff, right? Well, what happens if you lose your job? Your spouse loses their job.
He gets sick. You get sick. And then there's no accountability because it's everybody else's fault while you're in that position. People like to blame everyone in their reality for the problems that they are incurring, the things that they are experiencing. And if it's your experience, then it's something you did or didn't do to get you there. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, if this is what we're talking about, accountability.
Yes. So in other words, okay, so I always talk about, I went through a life-changing event a few years back. Guess what? That's on me. I'm not blaming. Like, it was funny because I had people telling me like that, man, you never complained when you were going through I'm like, complain about what? Like, what am I going to complain about? Like, and then who cares? Like that's what I'm always thinking. Like,
well, people will listen to you for that 5 minutes that you're complaining, but within that 5 minutes, like, almost can't wait to get away from you, because what are they going to say?
My boss told me, he was like, man, I never would have known that you were going through that. He was like, he said, man, you didn't miss a minute here. You were just, because I'm a professional. This is what I do. I'm not, my personal life has nothing to do with what I do for you. I work for you. So this whole idea that, I'm going to fold up the tent, I'm going to go out on social media and complain. Oh, what? Who cares? At the end of the day, guess what? You're going to wake up tomorrow morning still complaining.
It doesn't change anything.
So with that example, I'm going to pivot to your lane because, all right. Okay. My sister has been called many things. She has been called judgmental is one thing she's heard quite a bit, right? Okay. I understand because she's my sister, but I know a lot of people may not understand that if like her coaching, she has Amina Wynn coaching.
It is one of my emails.
Yeah, she's a coach. She does. We already know she's vegan. We already know vegans are passionate, or most of them are anyway. They can't help it in a way when how passionate they are about the food and the things that you consume, because forget about the animals for a second. She's talking to me about this worm thing, and the fact that most of us walking around have worms living inside of us, right?
Yes.
She believes in deworming and things like that, and cleansing and things like that. Why? Because as I pivot to you to ask you this question, when did trying to give someone who may be overweight constructive criticism about how to lose that weight, when did that become fat shaming? Because you've been accused of fat shaming. So can you touch on that, elaborate on that, what you've been in your experience with that? What say you?
Well, I think when you are making suggestions for a group of people and it strikes a nerve, and it could be coming from a good place, there could be no negativity or malice attached to it whatsoever, but because people feel a certain type of way about their condition, they're going to say that you are fat shaming them, or, how dare you say that I should just exercise and drink more water? Well, it is part of what we teach people just in basic health care. And I wasn't trying to be mean. What it is I think society leans on being victims and leans on how other people make them feel, and they use how other people make them feel as a reason to double down on their bad behavior, because it's an addiction a lot of times, and to also say, you're this kind of way, or because you said that I feel this way, or you guys are always so this, that, and the other. They're always pointing fingers at society and other people, and people always make them feel a certain type. Well, if you're always feeling a certain type of way, then there's something in your vibration that you are attracting these kinds of experiences to you, and people saying these kinds of things. Or if you're feeling like it's striking a nerve, what is it about you that it's striking that chord? Maybe you go within and find out, why am I attracting these experiences? Why do I feel this way? What am I doing?
Could I be doing that? Which pivots to the clip in the beginning. So, by the way, let me shout out her real quick. That what you saw in the beginning, that is Riva TV. Her channel is excellent. For someone that young to just be on point like this and just have, you could just tell she's dealt. If you look at her videos, you could tell she's dealt with people that have a severe lack of accountability, like that.
She's right. It is a reflection.
Yeah.
Whatever you are seeing in other people, people are negative, if people are judgmental, if people are whatever you want to label people as in your experience, and there's all of it, it's a reflection of something inside of you that you don't like. and you're seeing it in other people.
Yeah.
That's what our reality does to us.
Right.
It mirrors back to us what's going on inside of us. So if you think you are seeing judgmental this and critical that, and especially women, everybody's judgmental and jealous and critical. That's what we always say. But that's because we're horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
women are like that.
It's like in the manosphere space, right? Like it's like we're gonna get self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Like if we're following, because I was explaining to her how when you first get into the manosphere space or the red pill space, like there's different spectrums to it, right? So you've got all the way over here, you've got basically black pill, right? Which is like, I hate all women, right? That's basically, I mean, that's the guy that really went through the grinder, right? So he doesn't want to even look, right? He's that mad at women. There's levels to it though. But what happens is that, like, men are so frustrated right now with women and the whole idea of the dating market and all these things. And the fact that the bar has been raised is annoying a lot of men, because what really has happened, I believe, women are becoming more selective. They are now starting to say, well, you know what, if I'm going to raise my standard, right? Why should I date down to this guy's level? You're telling me I need to raise my standard. Mm-hmm. So we're creating the problem that we're complaining about, right? Like, think about it. If we're sitting up here saying, oh, now she wants you to be like this. Now she wants you to have the 6 6s. Now she wants you to do this. Now she wants you to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, you did, like you just said, like, so we end up creating the exact thing that we're complaining about. So going back to mirroring it back to you, mm-hmm. Listen, I mean, you guys watch shows. I mean, there's all these famous podcast stuff like Fresh and Fit. I mean, they bring a endless supply of these girls from Miami in there to reinforce the bias that we already know exists. All it does is just literally pound the table every single time. We already know what it's going to be. Like, we already know how these girls are going to behave. And I get it. It's entertainment. I get it. But if people are watching your show and they want to learn how to meet somebody, that's not helping them. None of that is helping them, because now they're just looking at this like, man, I got to do all of this to get a woman.
Maybe it's for the in-between guy.
As you know, all this boils down to accountability, because I've guys, I'm hard on you guys. I believe that before you're trying to get out here and date or do anything or dude, you guys got to be in shape. You got to have your mind right. You got to have your money right. You can't be in your mom's basement on the couch. Like, you can't be that guy and trying to do, because your focus can't be all over here. It can't be, I want to get the girl, but I was supposed to go to the gym today. You can't focus, right? So accountability, like, and if I go back to my notes here, okay, back to the fat shaming thing for 1 second. So what I have seen, and I don't, everybody knows I don't watch the mainstream media, neither do you. It's nauseating to me. I can't even look at it for 30 seconds. I start to get sick if it's on in the room. So this whole idea of them enforcing this, like, big, beautiful, and be yourself and let it all hang out and just, and it's okay, just be yourself and just be fat.
I think personally, I think it's a part of the depopulation agenda.
Yeah.
I think it's a part of, that article that we saw, dad bods are sexy.
Yeah.
And, the body positive, which is
body positivity
all
movement,
obese women.
Yep.
All of it. Like, if I went on there 112 pounds, listen, yeah. I'm not exactly jumping off the rooftops about how I look either. I'm 112 pounds at 47 years old. I wish I was heavier, right? Yeah. But can I be a part of the body pause? No, they'll be mad at me.
No, and that's the thing. It's like I was at the mall, right? Just walking through the mall, and I'm walking past the Victoria's Secret, and I just happened to look over, and in one of the ads that was in the window, it was 3 fat chicks on the ad, and I was like, come on, man. Like,
say heavy.
Come on, bro. Like that. The reason I have an issue with that is because that's like that's like literally you're going to. I told you the mainstream media is trolling women. Like, they're trolling women so hard because guess what they don't do? They do this to women. You're not going to see a heavy dude on men's health. You're never going to see that. You are never going to see it.
Yeah.
They do it to women.
They do a lot of things to women
because guys, we're not buying it. Yeah. Like they know we're not going for it. Like, no. At the end of the day, you go ahead and put a fat dude on the cover of Men's Health. Go ahead. We're gonna be like, we're just gonna laugh. We're like, this is hilarious. What are they doing?
Yeah.
Women are believing this stuff. They're starting movements behind it. They're like, oh yeah, body positivity, big and beautiful, and this and that. Lizzo.
There's all kinds of women targeted agendas that they're using women for. That's another show.
That's a whole nother show because, like we say, yeah, ladies, you guys make up 85% of consumer spending. Keep that in mind all the time because that is why they target you guys. No, understand. The dudes are not the ones spending the money into the economy. It's the ladies. So they must continuously, like, they bombard the ladies endlessly.
Come to think of it, with the body pause and all of that, with the quote unquote fat shaming, they need to keep those people in the circulation too because they need to sell stuff to them too. They Absolutely. Were kind of leaving them out of the advertising so they've made more sections in different stores with plus sizes and things like that so they can sell more stuff. This is a selling thing.
I mean, come on. Go to any mall and just walk. You'll pass 12 female stores before you pass the first dude store. Like, you'll pass 12 or 13. It'll be on each side. Oh, there's a guy store right there. And then you walk in the guy store. Our section is like, it's like, that's it. You go in the woman's stuff, it's stuff everywhere. Like, it's like, where are you at? It's stuff everywhere. They're targeting women. It's a whole nother show, but they're targeting women and the whole, this whole trans movement and all this stuff. That's also an attack on women. We'll talk about that in another show. But the stuff is getting ridiculous, though. Like, now they're just starting to put like caricatures out there and just add this a woman too. And I'm like, are y'all believing this? I'm asking you. I'm like, are they believing this? Like, are women actually buying into? I would like to talk to do you believe this? Like, or do you see it for what it actually is? That's a legit question.
Pick any liberal woman and she will say yes.
She believes. Okay, fine. That's a whole nother story. I mean, a whole other show. But let me jump to the next bullet point. I don't want to get off on too much of a tangent on that because we can sit here for an hour and talk about that. But okay. I don't know if you guys are following what's going on in Chicago right now, but apparently it's a mess. I mean, there's this crime. It's rampant. It's horrible. I have friends who are from Chicago. I know a guy who lives out there, and he's like, man, it's the pits out here. It's deplorable. It's horrible. So I'm like, well, what's going on? And, this whole defund the police movement, all the stuff that was going on. So, hey, the police are like, hey, that's fine. I'll just keep eating my donut. Go ahead and rob the Walmart. I don't care. So let me ask you this. If I go out there right now, and I go rob the local 7-Eleven. I'm a bad example. I'm too light-skinned.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm too light-skinned. Let me use it. If a darker-skinned gentleman goes out here right now, because for me it's too ambiguous, especially in Florida, right? He goes out there and he robs the 7-Eleven, right? He gets caught. He gets arrested. He gets caught on video. That's just shoplifting. It has nothing to do with the white man. I'm trying to figure out when we got to the point where you can just do whatever you want with no repercussions. Like, when did we get there? Because I'm seeing this, you guys are seeing this. I mean, if you look in the news, you see what's going on. And I'm like, okay, so when did we get to the point where are we teaching our kids this? Or are we telling them, hey, you can do whatever you want? Like, it's kind of a lawless society. You can just do whatever you want. Because I'm seeing like
they're turning around and they call these incidences racism.
Yeah.
Like, are that what they're saying in Chicago? Are they calling it?
Yes. They call it, systemic racism has caused all of this, right? It's caused everybody to. So, okay. My issue with that is, does that actually cause you to right now go out and do something illegal? Because if you do that, that's a crime, right?
Yes.
If you get arrested, it has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with you committing an actual crime.
No, there's no accountability. It's racism.
And the problem is, guys, is that on social media, there's these groups. I mean, my goodness, the mayor of Chicago, for crying out loud, they still won't call it out for what it is because they don't want to offend the mob. The social media mob that's going to attack you for saying the truth.
Attack you, cancel you.
You're going to have a bunch of people come out of the woodworks. Oh my God, why could you say such a terrible thing?
Overcorrect you.
It's to me, I look at it, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like this stuff makes no sense. It's simply shoplifting. It has nothing to do with systemic racism. I really wish that we would stop as a society. I wish that we would all say, okay, how can I help? How can me? Like if everybody points at themselves right now in the mirror and says, what can I do better?
Mm-hmm.
We all have things we can do better,
mm-hmm.
right? If we all do that, we'll start to improve society. But if we're all going to sit out here and just blame this one and blame that one and blame this one and blame that one
and take from this person and take from that person and not put into the pot and then say, you know, y'all don't do this and y'all don't do that, but you don't put into the pot because you get what you give. And if you're not giving anything, but you're pointing your finger at everybody saying, you're like this and y'all are like that and because y'all
mm-hmm.
and y'all this,
mm-hmm.
but you're not putting into the pot. You're not the person you say that you are.
Mm.
You say that you're, you know, giving and helpful and I'll give the shirt off my back to who?
Right.
When?
Show me. Where? This is the problem. So, and before we wrap up.
People just say stuff.
Correct.
I've been saying it for years. People can say
whatever
they want.
Yep.
And people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they say it about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm such a good person.
Mm-hmm.
I do this for everybody. And I do that. And I'm this and I'm that. And the reason why I don't deal with people is because y'all are like this.
Because of people like you. A friend of mine had her friend point her finger. We're in this position because of people like you. And her finger was shaking when she was pointing, and she was that mad at her. It was crazy because she was these people get into their social media echo chambers and they hear people just saying stuff, and then they go, "Oh yeah, it's because of you."
And a lot of your thoughts are not your own. So a lot of times you are saying things that maybe sometimes you go home and you go, "Why did I say that?"
It doesn't make any sense.
Why did I say that? You know, some of your thoughts are not your own. Your actions are not your own because we're sharing a collective consciousness. And you have to be awake and aware. With awareness of a thing, you can change it. And if you do not have awareness of how you are being and you are pointing your finger at everybody else, you're caught in a loop. And the loop will keep going.
It'll keep playing back to you. And you'll keep, and then you're that person, why does this stuff keep happening to me? Because of you.
Because of you.
That's the thing that we don't get. Like it's happening because of you. In one way, shape, or another, it's happening because of you, which leads into my last bullet point as we're bumping up against the time. This is also why modern relationships are in the toilet, because nobody's taking accountability in the relationship either. So if there's problems in the relationship, it's your fault.
Yes.
It's my fault. Like we're not going to look and say, wait a minute, hold on. What did I do wrong? See,
if you're asleep, you're blaming the other partner.
Yes.
You're saying, we're in this because of you. We're here because you don't listen. We're here because you don't clean up.
Right.
We're here. It's always the other person when you're asleep. When you're asleep, it's everybody else's fault. When you wake up, you start looking inside. What have I done? Now that I'm out of my 8-year relationship with my daughter's father, when I was with him, I was sick. I was asleep and it was all his fault. Mm-hmm. Now that I am awake, I can look and I can say, I had a big part in it.
Absolutely.
I'm real effed up, you know. James, I love you. I'm sorry, you know.
And it took her a long time to get to that, to say that. Because like for the longest time, it was all his fault. All of it. Like every last bit of it. And now that she's woken, she was admitted she was asleep. She didn't know. Like, neither did I. Like, I already told you I don't take relationship advice from me. But because but the reality is, even in my scenario, it wasn't all her either. I was a big part of that too. So
if there's two of you in the situation,
takes two to tango.
It absolutely does.
All the time.
And if you keep finding people leaving you, it's something about you. It's not them.
I call that the J-Lo syndrome. I call that for whatever reason, ladies, y'all look up to this woman, but she's horrible at relationships, but y'all want to be just like her. Make it make sense. I don't get that. This woman can't keep a man for 15 minutes. She's jumping a do. She's all up and down the chain. Go back, start the chain over. Like she went Ben Affleck, right? And a whole bunch of dudes and then back to Ben Affleck.
Well, it's telling women that already are not having awareness of their situation. They have low self-concept. They have low self-esteem, and they keep getting their monkey branching from guy to guy, but the guys keep leaving them and they're falling into deep depression over it. And it's everybody else's fault.
It's everyone else's fault. And people always say, man, she's so gorgeous. What's wrong with these guys?
She's so pretty. Yeah.
No, it's her. Like I hope y'all realize this stuff. It's her. Yeah. Like if all these dudes have been like, I'm out, it's her. Like guys, it's that simple. Like we can sit up here all day and it's easy to blame. I get it. Social media makes it easy to blame. Social media is, man, you talk to me. I'm not on TikTok, but you tell me. You could go on TikTok right now and you could post something super positive and you're going to get more hateful comments than positive ones because people are inherently negative too. That's the other problem. People are inherently there. It's like the guy that you tell, right? Oh yeah, man. I was at the gym this morning. I've been hitting the gym. Don't look like you've been going to the gym. You know that guy? There's a guy like that, right? Everybody has that friend, right? That he's really, in reality, he's jealous of you.
Aren't you at midlife? What are you doing that for?
Yeah. A buddy of mine heard that one. Because he's getting close to 50, right? As we all are. He mentioned, man, I've been working out. He's like, man, you're almost 50. What are you doing all that for? What? Shouldn't you be doing that at 50?
So like more of a reason.
Isn't that strange? So are you telling me that the older we get, the lazier we should get? Does that make any sense? That's matrix programming. That person is programmed.
That person is asleep.
He's so far asleep that he doesn't even, like, what do you mean? What is he? That's why I'm doing it, because I'm almost 50. But hold on, you take 12 different pills every day. I don't take any pills. I think I'll stick to my own advice. We're bumping up against the time. We're going to wrap it up right there. I'm going to put a couple of links in the description. Like and subscribe to the channel, please. We're trying. Again, my goal is by my birthday in July, I'd like to have 200 subscribers. So we're at about 155 right now. We need 45 more of y'all to click that button. So we'll be back. We've got more content to come. This is a huge topic. It's going to spawn more conversation. We might get hateful comments, and it's fine. We want that. We invite the banter because it helps us improve the show for you guys. We'll see you next time. We're out.